Morning, everybody. So, my guest today from the 1990s and back in 2025 is the lovely Betty Boo. Good morning, Betty. How are you?
Good morning. I'm very well, thank you.
Good. I love the fact we're saying good morning, even though it's 5 o'clock in the afternoon. It's going to be broadcast in the morning. So, first of all, why are you back out and about?
Well, I'm celebrating 35 years of Boomania, which was my first album, and I thought I'd get out there and do a tour to celebrate. And also, I'm bringing out, reissuing new the albums Boomania and Grow, my first two albums on special edition, coloured vinyl, cassettes, and CDs. And I just thought it'd be a lovely way to get out there and reconnect with all the everyone who loved my music and get to meet them. And I've always really wanted to do a little tour, so it's well, it's not little, it's 15 days, but yeah, from Dover all the way to Scotland. It's going to be great.
Now, you don't know this, but I'm a dance teacher normally. That's my normal
Oh,
profession as well as being on the radio as well. And I have the pleasure sometimes of doing really big events and
mhm.
sometimes doing quite small events.
Yeah.
I personally prefer the smaller events because I feel they're more intimate. What's your thoughts regarding big versus small?
Oh, I love both. I love both. They have different things. I think small venues are awesome because you really do, when you're performing, you can really absorb the energy that the crowd is giving you. Um, so yeah, but when you do festivals, that's great too because you can see people right in the distance, sort of waving at you. That's quite cool. Um, but I don't have a preference really. But like I said, the energy is so good when you play smaller places and when and you get to see people. It's not a sea of black. Like
It's always quite weird, isn't it? When I'm looking out from stage, if people are a long way away, I feel definitely less connected, but you get a bigger buzz because there's more of them.
yeah,
I
yeah,
can
yeah.
almost smell the people sometimes at that close,
That's cool.
which isn't always a good thing, but there we go. Now, I had the pleasure, I'm just going to hang on, just going to drop a name here very quickly. Very recently, I interviewed Chesney Hawkes.
Oh, did
I
you?
did. He was very lovely just before he went into the Big Brother house. And I had the pleasure of asking him the same question I'm going to ask you, and that he has to, of course, every time he performs, do the one and only.
Mhm.
And he said his relationship with that song over the years has roller coasted. What's your relationship with your older tracks, which inevitably you kind of have to play when you play live?
Oh, well, it's just I have to do them because they are who I am. Betty Boo doing the do is it's like you can't say Betty Boo without saying doing the do.
How many times do you reckon you've heard that in your life?
Oh gosh, so many times. It's so funny though when I do like festivals or anything like that, and I'm shown to my dressing room and stuff. It always says Betty Boo doing the do rather than just my name. So it's kind of stuck, hasn't it? So there's not a lot I could do about it, really.
There really isn't. In fact, when I've said to people that I was interviewing you today, I've literally said I'm interviewing Betty Boo doing the do. And they kind of
Yes,
just go hand in hand, don't they?
thank
But
you.
yeah,
Yeah.
what was it like back in the 90s? It was mainly a male-dominated scene, wasn't it? So what was it like being a female rapper at that time?
Well, I have to say, I didn't experience anything negative because I wrote and produced my own music. So I sort of earned my stripes, I think. I had a lot of respect for because I basically wrote Boomania, my first album, in my bedroom at home when I was living at home with my mum. So, and I programmed my beats and everything, and because I went to a sound engineering school when I was 18, so I knew how to create tracks and things. Um, but I have to say, I think I was lucky because I was also signed to an independent label that really embraced young talent called Rhythm King, and they had Bomb the Bass, S Express. These were all friends of mine from living in London and stuff, and they had creative control and they didn't want to tell me what to do. I think, and in fact, I don't think they could have told me what to do. That's a very different thing entirely. I had uh, but there again, I don't think many females had the opportunity to take that much control over their career because they were run by labels that were run by, men and being controlled, their images and stuff. And in fact, I did experience one thing where when I signed to Warner Brothers, the label said to me, "You've got to have an American manager. You've got to because we can't work this way." Because I basically wasn't really managed. I wasn't managed by anyone. I was just sort of doing my own thing and things. Anyway, I met some of these top guys. The ones that they manage the top artists out there, and they wanted to change my image. They wanted to change my music. They wanted me to dance more. I mean,
Right.
by the way, I'm a rubbish dancer, so
Is
and
it just because you haven't been to lessons, though?
yes,
There you
probably.
go. I
I
could
do the
teach you to
moves,
dance.
do club moves. That's all I can do.
That looked all right.
Um, so anyway, but they wanted to change everything, and I just thought, what is this? It wasn't an option for me, so I didn't go down that route. But I've always wanted to do things my own way. And even today, all my music comes out on my own label, and it's just really lovely to be doing things that you love and not being told what to do.
You are still
What's it
in
like?
control,
Yeah.
which is good. So you had a small break of a few years, shall we
Mm,
say?
yeah.
How has the industry changed from back then to now then?
Well, it has changed because of social media and the way music is heard. Because it's so instant, you don't have to pay for music anymore. You can just listen to it on a platform, and it's changed the way because being a songwriter used to be quite uh, lucrative back in the day, but not so much now because you don't get paid for every time people share their music.
No. So
But
you've
that,
written for, I was reading Girls Aloud and Hearsay.
yeah.
Who else? Who else have you written for then?
I did a song with Paloma Faith, quite a few artists. But it's like it's a very different world writing songs for other people because even though it can be fun, but then it's you don't have control over what happens after you've done the song. So it could just go to the A&R person at the record label, and then they might put it on the back burner, and they have this sort of approach, sort of mix and match kind of approach to A&R. So they might choose that song and then another song, and then your song might not be chosen. So, for a lot of people, that isn't a way of life.
No.
If you put your heart and soul into something, and then it's not being respected, you just think, oh, there's no point in doing that. But I always wanted to do my own stuff again, in the back of my mind, because I took that time off. So I've got to make that record or another one or another couple or something because I knew that I had it in me somewhere. And it took my 50th birthday, which was during lockdown, for me to rediscover my who what I would do as an artist again because we all had lots of time on our hands, didn't we? And
Yeah.
so I was able to explore because I wasn't quite sure. Was it a good idea to come back in your? Because I was going to be 50. Was it a good idea to make pop music? Would people just tell me, "Oh, get lost"?
Well, I was going to ask you regarding, whenever I do anything publicly, it's inevitable. It gets analysed and people have an opinion about it.
Mm,
Now, back in the early 90s, you were a very big star. You had great success.
mm.
How did you think people would feel about you coming back and then judge the music that you've made at that point?
Well, this is the thing, if you make things or you put yourself out there, you're going to get people that will like it or won't like it. Um, and luckily for me, I've just had such an amazing response about my stuff, and and it doesn't sound disconnected from the stuff I did in the 90s because it's still got the 90s flavor but updated. So all my
Yeah.
new stuff has got, it's I mean I love it. I do. I'm very proud of it, and I've got a great co-writer and co-producer called Andy Wright, and we just love writing together. And and we've managed to get some great music out there. And now I just can't imagine not doing it. That's a nice thing because before I just thought, do I really want to be in music anymore? I don't know if I like it that much because I didn't really listen to music much either.
Right.
Um, but I've rediscovered it and I'm absolutely in love again.
So, for the benefit of the tape, you're in front of a number of different posters, I'm going to say.
Yeah,
The one that's back to your right is a leopard skin outfit.
yeah.
That
It's
is you.
horrible blackout.
I'm making that assumption it is you.
It is.
Okay,
Um,
so I had the pleasure last year of turning 50 myself.
oh yeah,
And I have to
congrats.
say, the chances of me fitting into a leopard skin outfit now are quite slim.
Yeah, okay.
So I'm intrigued, like, what do you wear now on stage? Because do you still go for the leopard skin outfits?
I do. I do wear flamboyant outfits, but more of an update on I don't look like mutton dressed as lamb. Put it that way. I wouldn't do- No, I love wearing 60s clothes and
Brilliant.
combining it with the hip hop, which is kind of what I did anyway back in the day. So it's kind of an updated version. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it looks good. Now, just to finish off with, I always try, because I know that you guys do hundreds and sometimes thousands of these types of interviews. So I try and find a question that you've never been asked before. Okay, the last time I did this, I had to have two goes at doing it. Okay, so let's see if I can find a question that you haven't been asked before. I'm going to have a backup in place. Okay.
Okay.
My first question, which, and please tell me if I fail on the first occasion, which I kind of expected, but let's find out, is what 90s trend would you love to bring back? Have you been asked that question before, first of all?
No, I haven't. And you
Oh,
put me on the spot,
okay. There we
which is
go.
that's what you wanted to achieve, isn't it?
Not really. I kind of want you to think back to the 90s and think, I love that. What would I love to bring back?
Um,
You've mentioned one already, by the way, which is cassette tapes. Because I
yeah,
used to get my album and then record it onto a cassette tape, so I had both.
yeah, I know. Gosh. What, gosh, I can't think.
That's all right. We'll go for cassette tapes.
Cassette tapes,
There we
yeah.
go. We'll go with that one. I've got another question for you then, which is definitely a yes or a no answer to give.
Hmm.
But again, I need to know if you've been asked this. It's quite a famous question on my personal show. And that is, do you hang your toilet roll over the top or behind the back?
Over the top.
Over the top.
Hmm.
Good. That is the correct way, by the way.
Is it?
It
Oh, that's good
is.
to know.
There is a patent for it. So, and have you been asked that question before?
No, but there was a theory, wasn't there, back in the 90s, probably. If you were, it's apparently more men put it under the
Hmm.
holder and
Okay.
women put it over.
Oh, I did
Yeah.
not know that.
Oh, it was in that book that was in the 90s. Men are from, women are
Oh,
from Venus and men are from
men are
Mars.
from Mars. Okay. I did not know that bit. Yeah,
Yeah. I could be making it up though.
that's okay. I was on stage the other day quoting Charles Dickens and then had to check my internet to make sure I was quoting it correctly
You
in the
people are
weird
silly.
world that I live in. But yeah. Remind us, everybody, Betty, why you're here.
Well, I'm celebrating 35 years of Boomania, my first album, and I'm going out on tour to promote that and to just to have a great time and bring a 90s party to lots of towns up and down the country, from Dover to Scotland, and I'm all over the place. There's 15 shows, and if anyone wants to check out my website, which is officialbettyboo.com. And on there, you'll be able to see what I'm up to. If you want to see if I'm in a town near you, you can buy tickets. And also, I've got that special edition vinyl reissues of Boomania and Grower, and also my recent records, which is my comeback record, which was Boomerang, and Rip Up the Rule Book, which was out last year. So there's lots of fresh new stuff on there if you want to check it out. So that's that.
I have listened to them all and they sound fantastic, I have to say.
Oh, thank you so much.
I'll be playing some of the tracks around this as well. So yeah, thank you for your time
Oh,
today, Betty. Really enjoyed it.
thank you so much.
Thank you and have a great rest of your day.
And you.